I may be considering a number of things, but I do know where I land on this. My young daughters are ages 2 and 4, and thus in the midst of what we call the constant state of birthday season. As parents, my wife and I have been working to teach our kids what it means to celebrate another's birthday. You want to honor that person, make the day about them and not about you, and be respectful of their celebration. Part of celebrating one's birthday oftentimes means giving gifts. For kids, we often give toys, and for significant others, well, we might give something a bit more romantic. But what would you give a country? This week will mark the United States' 242nd birthday. As we think about honor, respect, and potential gift, I think I've got one lined up for all of us to give. And for this gift, you don't have to go shopping. As a matter of fact, you can just go ahead and go in on it with me and put your name on the card. What is the gift, you might ask? Listening. Yeah, do a little less talking and a little more listening. Both sides of the aisle agree that Congress doesn't do this, right? Don't believe me? Just turn on C-SPAN and watch who isn't in the room when someone from Congress takes the floor to opine on their position. But it doesn't stop there. Neither the granola-eating hippies on the left or the basket of deplorables on the right are having any effect. Why? Because the other side just isn't listening. So here's a practical gesture we can do for our significant other, and by that, I mean the great country we all share. For the folks on the right, turn off Fox News for a day and instead listen to CNN or MSNBC for an hour or two, and no, not in a what is the enemy saying kind of way, rather listen to the opposing points of view shared by those other networks. Liberal thinkers out there have had some pretty good ideas that we can likely agree on over the years. More education money for our children, that was President Johnson. Overcoming the Soviet blockade of Berlin, President Truman, and creating one of the greatest fighting forces in the world, the U.S. Navy SEAL, well, that was President Kennedy. Hoo-yah! And if you're a lefty, a little Glenn Beck goes a long way. Conservative government was responsible for some outstanding things over the years. Large-scale desegregation of public schools, President Nixon. Promotion of alternative fuels to reduce U.S. dependence on foreign oil, well, that was President George W. Bush, a Texas oil man who set aside his own conservative leanings to encourage alternative fuel sourcing. And oh, by the way, making NASA a civilian space agency under the Science Education Act, that was President Eisenhower. But I'm principled in my beliefs, you might say, as a response, to which I would tell you that being principled doesn't mean being right. The Taliban is principled, so were the Nazis. So for the day, let's just lay down our principles, perk up our ears, and listen to one another. We have achieved greatness when we have participation from both sides. Republican Air Force Colonel Eileen Collins commanded the Space Shuttle Discovery with ground support found in Texas, a red state. But you can be sure that most of those folks in ground control likely attended schools at liberal universities such as MIT, Harvard, Berkeley, and Yale. We do great things when both parties come together. We touch the sky. And on that note, this 4th of July, let's look to the sky and enjoy the fireworks. I assure you that those fireworks were likely built by a conservative ordnance explosive expert in an armory, while at the same time are assuredly launched by an expert with a liberal theater pyrotechnics degree. Teamwork makes the dream work. Finding myself somewhere in the middle, I'm Seth Denson.